Today I will be sharing with you the coloring process for this card on special request. Stay tuned to watch how I create the entire card. Hello and welcome to Creative Coloring with Iram. I'm sure you remember this particular image and the way this is colored from a few weeks ago. I colored the image again, more or less in the same way as before, trying to keep it as close as possible to the previous card. So let's just begin. I will be using the Painted Flower Dahlia Bright Eyes. I have used this before on the card and I have received so many requests to share a video tutorial on how I achieved the look. I will start by stamping the image in permanent black ink onto Crest Solar White cardstock. The permanent black ink is an alcohol marker friendly ink, but still I will go ahead and be on the safe side as use a heat tool to dry the panel for a few seconds. Next, I will start by coloring the flower centers. And for this, I'm using the yellow ochre artist alcohol marker. I will use the bullet tip because it works well in tiny spaces. I will just add a dot of this on the base of the filaments and then I will fill in the rest of the area with the Butternut artist alcohol marker. Again, using the bullet tip. You don't have to blend this. We want the dark dot to be visible. This isn't enough area for us to do some major blending on. Next, I will take the darkest marker from the Tranquility set, the Dark Night Artist Alcohol marker, and use the bullet tip and start coloring in the areas between the filaments. And you can see that the space is very tight. So I will be using the bullet tip as I mentioned. You don't have to achieve a full coverage over here, but cover as much area as you can. I will add white dots to this area so any spaces left out will look like it's part of the design. Though try your best to color in this area. The darker the area is, the better the white dots will appear in the end. Once done, start adding the same pigment on the petals as flicks. You will add this where you want to show extreme depth and shadow. If you want your petals to be darker, then you will add more of the first two colors in this family as they both are pretty dark. Next, use the second color, Nimbus Artist Alcohol marker, and extend the previous strokes a little bit. There is a high chance my flower is going to be darker or maybe lighter than the first time around. I just color as I feel like coloring in the moment. I'm not copying the exact thing, but mainly sharing the tips and how I achieve the look. Once done, now add Cloudy Sky Artist Alcohol marker strokes. Make sure you're extending the previous strokes that you added and don't cover the entire petal. Remember to leave white portions out for the pink area. It's the same way that you would leave out white portions to add the lightest marker or even blank for highlight. Think of the pink marker as the lightest marker in this case. Now use the Misty Morning Artist Alcohol marker to further blend out the strokes. This marker is slightly different in tone and will change the temperature of the flower to a bit warm. You will now see more of a green hue here than the original blue. In the end, use Rose Quartz Artist Alcohol marker to cover in the blank areas or wherever you want to add pink areas. If you want to add less of this, add less of it, and if you want to add more of this, be my guest and try out that as well. You can use a shade darker than Rose Quartz if you want a more pinky hue. I have also tried this with yellow and it looks really cool. If you compare both of my images after I'm done coloring, you will notice that there is significant difference between the pinks that I've added. There's a little bit more pink on this one than in the first original one that I colored. For the stem, I will use Espresso and I will add a jagged line along the stem using the bullet tip. I will blend this with Mocha. It would seem that it's not making any difference, but it will be making a lot of difference. Then skip one shade and pick Sand Dunes to blend the entire thing. It will create a really nice looking blended stem. Now move back to the flower and add specks onto the petals. This is not necessary, but I love to add these dots on the petals. I do this a lot and I absolutely love the texture that it adds to the petals. I will be adding these dots of various sizes using the brush tip and the darkest marker, that is the Dark Night Artist Alcohol marker. The dot size depends on the pressure of your hand. Also, the more pressure you apply, the more bigger the dot is. And the lighter pressure you apply, the smaller it will be. Once I've added all the dots on the petals, I will be adding white dots. Yes, there's lots of dots on this one, lots of specks, but just wait and see how beautiful it looks. I'm going to use the must-have gel pen set and I will be using the white gel pen and start adding my dots in and around the flower center, the area that I filled in at the very beginning with Dark Night marker. So because the area is dark, it will just pop up those white dots that I'll be adding. Keep changing the width of the dots for interest. Also make sure you form a dome-like shape so it looks like it's part of the stamped image. And this will make the flower center so much fuller. It will also hide any mistakes or uncolored areas in the center. Now to make this slightly different than the first card, I will use monochrome shading pencils and add a bit of shading under the petals. This will create 4 dimension. On the first card, I only just added light gray artist alcohol marker. I will then use a blending stump to thoroughly blend out the pencil pigment. This indeed looks super cool and adds so much drama. You may skip this if you want to, but I do like to do something extra to my images most of the time. This adds a lot of 4 dimension to this one layered image and creates a lot of interest to your drawing and your project. I then noticed that the cardstock I was working on was roughly hand cut and wasn't straight. So this gave me an idea to cut off the image in a way that I could create a border on the side and the flowers overhanging a bit. So I drew a line using a T ruler and then I fussy cut around the flowers, which was really easy to do, by the way. And then I stopped when I reached the line at the top and then cut along the line. I then thought to layer this onto navy cardstock. The navy cardstock looks great and I really wanted it to match my flowers. So I decided to use Altenew Pigment Ink, also known as the mixed media inks, in Frayed Leaf and Forest Glades. I will first swipe the Frayed Leaf ink pad over the right hand side of the navy cardstock onto the part that we will be able to see. Then I will dry the panel with my heat tool. Then I will repeat the same with the Forest Glades, just enough so it matches the flowers, and then heat set it again. On heat setting Altenew Pigment Inks, these become permanent, so there's no chance of smudging them. Next, I thought I should add some pink to this, so I cut out 2 thin strips of the slightest pink glitter cardstock from the Pink Brilliance glitter cardstock set and added this to either side of the image panel that I had cut out. I will adhere the instant dimension foam tape behind this and then adhere this over the navy cardstock. And then I will just pop a sentiment and add a few satin white sequins, which by the way I colored over with Rose Quartz Artist Alcohol marker, and now they are pink sequins and they match the highlights on my flower. I hope you liked my card. Just changed the layout a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Hello there! Did that video just spark your creativity? And do you want more project ideas and inspiration videos too? Well, if you do, please make sure that you subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you do click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye!